What is up, guys? Z-Slides here, back with another video. So in this video, I'll teach you how to make like a terrain map. So first, you just want to like find a map, if that works. This is just from the map I made in the mapping series. I'll just copy and paste that here. Well, actually, the first step is you just want to make the little template for all the colors. It'll make more sense later. But normally on the top, I like doing 7 kind of the mountains. The first one, you always want to make like a very light blue. Then the second one, make like a light gray. And then a kind of light brown, which you don't have. So just go quickly pick out a kind of like a bit lighter, kind of like that color. Next one is a light green. Actually, it's a bit paler than that. And a bit darker. Okay, so I'm mistaken. There's supposed to be an even lighter one in between. So this is supposed to go even lighter. And then the last color you want is just a slightly lighter green. So if your map has any forest in it, just make a dark green. The one I'm gonna do does not. So just a blue, or rivers, if you have any, or lakes or oceans. That kind of color. And then only just like to add one more darkish green color. Nope, I'll make that a bit lighter. This is your color palette, per se. Once you have your color palette, I'm just going to go back to this, and I just want to pick out an area, or like, kind of zoom in. But before I do that, just to make the file size smaller and less obnoxious, I'm just going to quickly take this down a notch, or a few notches. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this onto a new slide, and just really zoom out. And this will be massive. You can always just view in the top corner. So just gonna make this even larger. And I like this city just because like it's on the mountain range. There's rivers coming off of it. But I'm just gonna make that a bit bigger. You can have like 4 or 2 cities in it. But just try to find like a nice isolated, normally around 1 city, and just center that. It's gonna have to be a lot bigger, I should say. If you ever deselect it, just Control A and select everything again. Okay, that should be large enough now. Okay, now that we have that in a frame, I'm just going to delete some useless stuff, like the background. Just take your color palette, plop that down there. Real quick, I'm just going to make this very small. All city text are black. And I'm just going to scale this way down, because that's where the actual city will be. And just kind of, we can do rivers later, but okay, so once you just have your city place that you're going to be around, next step is just kind of doing the mountains around. So you just kind of go at the peaks, or just the top points of all of the mountains. In this case, since I have mountains, and I just try to make it pretty narrow falling. most of the tops, and in some places it might not be as high, so you don't have to go all the way, and just make that the lightest color. Then the second is a bit further out, but still pretty close to the top peaks of the mountains. So I'm just going to continue tracing that semi-closely to that. And each one, it should get marginally bigger until it covers the whole map. Just send that to bottom, or not bottom, send it down by one. Just use the eyedropper tool to click on your palette. And next is the light brownish. This one goes even farther out, just kind of in different areas. Then it can just like bulge out, go back in. It doesn't have to be precise or accurate, just gets the point across. That brown and a few more I'll get to do before the rivers. Next, when you start hitting the green stages, this can just go like way out there, just generally, which is this one. Oh no, it wasn't. I'm just gonna put some parts down. I don't like how close that. Okay. So this should be more of like a darker color, so I'm just going to quickly alter that, because it's supposed to be, more mountainous. And this one can be that lighter color. You don't have to follow your template, your palette perfectly. Okay, now when you actually start hitting the greens, you can just kind of go way out. This is still lighter green, so it's not, really, normal land, but it's a bit higher up, but it's still green from grass. It has grass, that's a start. And just make sure to send it each layer back. And then last one, which is just the second deepest green. And just, throw things around. It doesn't have to be precise at all. I'll just throw that right there. For the background, I'll have like this color as the background. Also, just gonna quickly group those and send it to back. I can delete, or I'm just gonna quickly go out here. I need the rivers, but everything else I'm just gonna quickly delete, because the more stuff you have there, the more it lags out, if you're trying to do several things. Okay. Next step is just tracing a new path through the river. That's more curved. So just, something like that. And it should go almost to the second top layer. And I'm just going to make sure it runs through the city a bit. Now this one, I think it would be a larger river. So probably maybe 16 thickness, the other one can be 12. And same thing, starts at like the second layer. And just squiggle that around. It is going to be smaller river, so maybe 12. Now that you have that, just, don't follow along too closely, but just make it like, semi like a river. Just go in waves, and some parts are thicker than others, which is totally normal. And just, make it look like a river. If any part's like too thin, like this, it should be a bit thicker. And there, because it should never be like a choke point like that, otherwise it would not work. But something like that, I'm just gonna delete that real quick. Just gonna delete that and make it that blue on the eyedropper. Next one, kind of just do the same thing, except it's not as thick. So, yeah. And there you go. Again, I'll make that same color. And delete that. And then, while I'm at it here, I'm also going to remove the border thickness. And the color palette. I don't really like that gray. It's like a weird tint to it. Okay. Next step after this is just naming things. So for rivers, you just want to have like a really dark blue river text, or the text should be really dark blue because it's a river. Speaking of dark blue, I'm just gonna make these a bit darker. Vernu River. Just come up with some names, and just try to have it like an angle or something. But don't do it at too far of an angle where you can't read it. Like, don't do some like upside down or 90. It should be tilted, not too far. Like, I wouldn't say go past 50 or something on your angles, and it should be a bit darker so you can still read it over. And there, the other is just gonna be Jelkar River. Again, just gonna write that and then angle it. They don't have to be angled, but like if it's on mountains, like this part, I think would be a good place for it. Because here, it would just be vertical, and that's harder to read. But down here, it's, you know, slanted, so it's easier. Guntelian Mountains. Guntel Mountains. Oh, I misspelled mountains. And for mountains text, just make it a dark gray. I'm gonna make that a bit darker. If you were to have forest, you'd make that a dark green, really dark green. And since this is the capital, I'm just quickly gonna grab that coat of arms and just stick it over there. Well, this has been a tutorial on how to make terrain maps. Z-Sides out.